Sign here, the lawyer said. Your sister gets everything. I was 19 and homeless. 12 years later, they burst into my boardroom. Only you can stop the bankruptcy. I leaned back in my CEO chair and said, You have 5 minutes. Starting now. My father's face was gray, sweat beading on his forehead despite the air conditioning. My mother clutched her Hermès bag. Fake, I noted with grim satisfaction. And Victoria, my perfect sister, wouldn't even meet my eyes. 12 years. 12 years since they'd gathered me in that sterile law office and explained that Grandma Eleanor's will had been adjusted for the family's benefit. It's better this way, my father had said then, sliding the papers across the mahogany table. Victoria has a family to think about. You're young, unattached. You'll be fine. I was 19, 2 years into college on a partial scholarship, working 3 jobs to cover what financial aid didn't. Grandma Eleanor had promised her fortune would be split equally between her 2 granddaughters. My girls, she'd called us. My legacy. $5 million each. That's what we should have inherited. Instead, I got nothing. How? I'd asked, staring at the paperwork in disbelief. Mom was confused near the end, Victoria had said smoothly. She was 25 then, married to an investment banker, already living in a McMansion. She signed a new will. Everything goes to me as the older, more established granddaughter. That's not what she wanted. Can you prove that? The lawyer had interrupted. Do you have evidence of undue influence? The mental capacity evaluations show she was competent when she signed. I'd looked at my parents. You're okay with this? My mother had avoided my gaze. Victoria has children. You don't even have a steady boyfriend. I'm 19. Exactly, my father had said. Too young for that kind of money. You'd waste it. This way, it stays in responsible hands. By responsible, you mean Victoria's hands. The decision is made, Victoria had said coolly. Sign the acknowledgement. And if I don't, then we'll contest your right to anything else from the family. The college fund, the car, everything. You'll truly have nothing. They'd already emptied my college fund, I learned later. The car had been in my father's name. I'd been naive, trusting, believing family meant something. I'd signed. Then I'd walked out with nothing but the clothes on my back and a rage that could have burned the world. The first year nearly killed me. I dropped out of college, couldn't afford it without the fund they'd drained. Slept in my car until it was repossessed. Spent nights in 24-hour laundromats, washing the same 3 outfits, studying coding on library computers. You could come home, my mother had texted once. If you apologize to Victoria. Apologize. For being robbed. I deleted her number. At 20, I got my break. A startup needed cheap developers. I lied about having a degree, showed them what I could build instead. They hired me for pennies, but it was enough for a shared room in a moldy apartment. I worked 18-hour days, learning everything I could. The startup failed, but I'd made connections. The next one paid better. The one after that gave me equity. By 25, I'd co-founded my own fintech company with another developer who'd been screwed over by family. We built software that helped people protect their assets from financial abuse. Ironic? Maybe. Therapeutic? Definitely. We need products that prevent what happened to us, Malik had said during our first planning session. We created digital vault systems, inheritance protection protocols, and elder abuse prevention tools. Every line of code was personal. Every feature born from pain. The company exploded. Turns out, financial abuse by family members was epidemic. We went from 2 developers in a garage to 300 employees in a Silicon Valley high-rise. Our valuation hit $1 billion in year 5. I'd done it. Built an empire from the ashes of betrayal. Meanwhile, Victoria had burned through Grandma Eleanor's money like tissue paper. Bad investments, her husband's gambling addiction, a lifestyle that required millions they no longer had. The family construction business, built by my grandfather, expanded by my father, had been mortgaged to the hilt to fund their excess. Which brought us to now. This moment. This boardroom where they sat like beggars at a feast they'd once denied me. Time's ticking, I said, glancing at my Patek Philippe. Worth more than the car they'd said I didn't deserve. The business is failing, my father said quickly. We need an immediate injection of capital, or we lose everything. The house, the company, all of it. And we need 15 million. Today. The bank called the loans. Fascinating. Why would I care? Your family, my mother whispered. I was family when you stole my inheritance. How'd that work out? We didn't steal, Victoria started. Shut up. I didn't even look at her. You manipulated a dying woman, forged documents, or coerced her. I don't know which and I don't care. You took what was mine and laughed while you did it. You can't prove. Actually, I can. I pulled out a folder. Remember Grandma's nurse? Lovely woman. Struggled for years with guilt about what she witnessed. When she saw my name in Forbes last year, she reached out. The color drained from Victoria's face. Sworn affidavit, I continued, detailing how you visited Grandma daily in her final month. How you brought papers. How you told her I was dead, died in a car accident, tragic really, and she needed to sign new documents to protect the family assets. That's not. I also have the forensic accountant's report showing how the family money was systematically drained. The gambling debts. The affairs. The failed investments. Tell me, Victoria, does your husband still frequent that particular casino? Or did they ban him after the incident? Silence. 12 years ago, you had $10 million. Grandma's 5 and the 5 you stole from me. Now you have nothing. Negative nothing, actually. Fascinating how quickly money disappears when you don't earn it. Please, my father said. We made a mistake. We see that now. You see it now because you need my money. If you were still rich, I'd still be dead to you. That's not true. When's my birthday? Silence. My middle name? Nothing. What company do I run? My mother fumbled. Something with computers? Get out. Marina, please. Oh, now you remember my name? We're desperate, Victoria burst out. Isn't that enough for you? You've won. You're rich, successful, everything I'm not. Are you happy now? Happy. I stood, walking to the window. I'm content. There's a difference. Happy would have been growing up with a family that valued me. Happy would have been using Grandma's money for graduate school, starting my company without sleeping in laundromats, building something with love instead of spite. So you'll help us? I turned back. I'll make you an offer. Same one you made me. Sign everything over to me, the company, the house, all remaining assets. In exchange, I'll pay off the debts. But then we'll have nothing. You'll have each other. Family, remember? That should be enough. Where will we live? Not my problem. Maybe Victoria's children will take you in. Oh wait, they cut contact last year, didn't they? Something about toxic grandparents. Victoria started crying. 12 years ago, I'd begged her through tears. The symmetry was almost poetic. You can't do this, my father said. We're blood. Blood. I laughed. You bled me dry and called it love. You threw me away like garbage, and now you want recycling privileges? No. So you'll let us rot? I'm giving you a choice. Same one you gave me. Sign it all over and walk away with nothing, or face bankruptcy and prosecution for elder abuse. Because yes, I will pursue that. Statute of limitations isn't up, and I have very good lawyers. This is revenge, my mother accused. This is justice. Revenge would be buying the bank that holds your loans and foreclosing immediately, which I could do with a phone call. They looked at each other, decades of entitlement crumbling in real time. We need time to think. You have? I checked my watch, 30 seconds. The bank closes in an hour. After that, my offer disappears, and you can explain to a judge why you told a dying woman her granddaughter was dead. Fine, Victoria shrieked. We'll sign. I smiled, pressing the intercom. Julia, bring in the papers Mr. Kozlov prepared. My assistant entered with a stack of documents. The same lawyer who'd helped them steal from me had drawn these up, after I'd hired him away from his old firm with a salary he couldn't refuse. Poetic, isn't it? I said as they signed. Same conference room design as 12 years ago. Same type of papers. Same devastation on the other side of the table. You're enjoying this, my father muttered. I'm enjoying the symmetry. The justice. The proof that you were wrong about everything. We loved you. You loved Victoria. You tolerated me. Until I became inconvenient. They finished signing. Everything they'd built, everything they'd stolen, now belonged to me. Congratulations, I said. You're officially nobody. How does it feel? What happens now? My mother asked, defeated. Now. You leave. Start over. Maybe you'll surprise yourselves. Maybe hitting bottom will build character. Maybe you'll finally understand what you put me through. Or, Victoria asked, or you'll blame me forever, learn nothing, and die bitter. Either way, not my problem. Security escorted them out. I watched from my window as they stood on the sidewalk, looking lost. 12 years ago, I'd stood on a similar sidewalk with nothing but determination. I wondered if they had any. My phone buzzed. Malik, my co-founder. Did you do it? It's done. How do you feel? I considered. Empty. Full. Everything and nothing. That's normal. What will you do with their company? Dismantle it. Sell the pieces. Donate the proceeds to organizations that help financial abuse victims. And the house. Women's shelter. Seems fitting. A place that protected predators becoming a place that protects victims. You're sure? I don't need their things. I needed them to understand. Do they? I watched them disappear around the corner. They understand they lost. Whether they understand why, that's on them. That night, I sat in my penthouse, looking at the only photo I'd kept from childhood. Grandma Eleanor and me in her garden, both covered in dirt, planting roses. I did it, Grandma, I whispered. I protected your legacy. Not the money, that was just paper. But what you taught me about strength, about growing beautiful things from difficult soil. The roses in that garden were probably dead now. But the ones I'd planted, my company, my life, my refusal to be destroyed, those bloomed despite everything. Or maybe because of it. The next morning, headlines blazed. Tech CEO acquires family business in hostile takeover. They called me ruthless, cold, unforgiving. They weren't wrong, but they missed the real story. The one about a 19-year-old girl who'd signed away her inheritance to keep the peace, then built an empire to prove a point. Some things can't be stolen, like intelligence, drive, the ability to transform betrayal into billions. My family had given my inheritance to my perfect sister. 12 years later, I'd inherited everything they'd built and gave it away to strangers who needed it more. Because that's what you do with poison. You don't drink it. You transform it into medicine for someone else's wounds. And then you walk away, finally free from the weight of what they stole and what you've reclaimed. The boardroom? Just another conference room now. But the view from the top? Absolutely perfect. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.